Hey guys, and welcome back to the Interceptor. We're here with another war video, and this is actually the last war video of season 12. Sorry, this is war 12, the last war of season 24. So D69 faced Apoco. So Apoco is currently sitting in second place in Masters, and we're sitting in, I believe it's sixth. So fourth in Masters, or we could be in fifth. I don't actually. No, we're in fifth in Masters, right? So we're in eighth overall. So we were, I think, a whole 2 wins safely inside of Masters, so it did not matter if we won this war. Apoco did need to win this war, and we expected them to be somewhere between 2 and 4 deaths, and the best we've ever done as an alliance was 3. That's big boosting, so we just said, everyone place with suicides if you have them on. We are just going to not boost super hard this war because they are going to try for the win, and there's no reason for us to get it. So I actually did not plan this war, so I was working at the time war started, so Run had to plan it. And there are definitely, when I got back, there were, I think, 3 fights in particular. I think he sent the wrong counters to, and I did voice my opinion on that. And he didn't agree. He thought his idea was better, but it doesn't matter. I think all of the fights that I had concerns about were actually all solos. So I just think another champ could have done it better. But either way, it doesn't matter. And in section 1, we're going on path 6. We have the team of Magic, Quake, and Warlock, which means that I've used Quake every single war this season, even when I was bringing in Morningstar for bosses. Yeah, so that's pretty good. And this is a Doom. He does have a Mystic Dispersion 5, but I expected that. This is still a really, really easy fight. No SP1 boost required. So right here, I'm going to get him to almost 1 bar of power, then wait for his aura to run out. So I power drain. And if you guys don't know the way that magic works, it's actually not stated in her abilities. But if the opponent is under any sort of power gain mechanic, so whether that is a ability or a node, whether they have power or not doesn't matter. Your special 2 is still going to steal power, even if that power doesn't exist. So for example, this node has strike back, which means that regardless of if they have a bar to steal or not, if I throw an L2, it is always going to give you 1 full bar back at the very least. So Doom with the highest attack rating in the game, I believe. He is a bit of a problem, but right there we were at 2.9 bars. You guys couldn't see, but I couldn't have parried. If I'd parried, I probably would have been at an L3, so I had to intercept with an L2. That worked out really nicely. Now I did throw on Mystic boosts, and it's only because I have 2 magic fights, and I wouldn't have done it if I just had this one, because this is a very easy fight. I think we actually have died to this fight before, and I think it was Tildo getting parried, and I think that was last season. But in general, it's quite a simple fight. Even if it's not super easy, the strategy is simple. So I am running Resonate in this war. I could have turned it off. It probably would have made one of my future fights significantly easier if I turned it off, but I just didn't really care. I don't mind long magic fights, as you guys can, if you guys remember the fight last war that took 4.5 minutes, or maybe it was the war before, I'm not sure. I think it was 2 wars ago. I think it was war 10. I had a 4.5 minute magic fight against Doom. But yeah, now for the next fight, this is a rank 3 Havok on heavy hitter power alternator. And let me tell you guys, this Havok has the worst AI I've ever seen from a Havok. I think at one point in this fight, he goes for 5 consecutive heavy attacks and pushes me right into the corner. So I'm not sure if it's right here, but yeah, there's 1, there's 2. He throws the L1. Trying to get a reparry. That's 3 in a row. Trying to get a reparry. He lets me do it there, so it must be later in the fight. But anyways, you guys can see that timer. I'm trying to get to my L2 to throw it, and he's going to steal my power. So right there, I was standing near him, thought he might hit into me with a light attack. He went for a medium, and I was just a little late. And then right there, he goes for another one, so I'm like, okay, I have to bank. So I'm going to hit a reparry there. That was actually super clutch. But I think at one point in this fight I have to bank. And then power alternator, just as I'm about to get 2 bars of power, gets me again. So that sucks. Right here, he's going to go for a heavy attack. I do bank there. Now, because of Havok's absurdly long-reaching medium attack, it actually makes it really, really difficult for you to bank your after only evading 1 hit from Havok in the corner after dexing. So what I like to do is I like to actually dex 2 hits in the corner. So the first time I tried it with 1 hit and it missed, and then and then he hit me, and I remembered, oh yeah, you can't do that against Havok safely. So the next time I went for the bank, I made sure I did 2. So despite how unbelievably horrible that AI was for that fight, we do win the fight, which is awesome. That Havok, although quite simple, can be quite tricky. And now we have a rank 3 long shot on Power Snack, and originally Run had said either Magic or Archangel can take this. Archangel should not be taking this fight. Sure, you can get it down relatively quickly, but you have no way to prevent the power gain. So if he gets to an L2 and throws it, you can just die with Archangel like that. You can just die instantly if he doesn't throw the L1 and backup recovery gets you. You also don't stop Power Snack because of long shots enhanced ability accuracy. I believe you'd have to get 9 neurotoxins with Archangel at a high sig level in order for that to be possible. And it was also only a rank 5 Archangel that we were using, so that's not a good idea. So, yeah, that's... I've done this fight before with Magic. I know how easy it is, and I had Magic, so I said, just let me take it. It's, if not likely a death, it could be a death. Like, that's one of the most likely deaths on the map, is trying to use Archangel in this fight. The ones I saw at least. So right there we get backup recovery, but magic power locks, so doesn't even do anything. There we try to go for a light intercept, he doesn't let me, so I hit a reparry. And this fight, it's really, really simple. There's not too much to say. I think I end this fight with like 95% health. I think I regenerate mostly. And yeah, like I said, I do have the Mystic Boost on. Now, this node, Power Snack, it doesn't actually can't count for that passive power gain effects I was talking about earlier. So Magic does not gain power from throwing an L2 here reliably, but right there she did because I had a 2 consecutive power locks fail. So the next time he actually had power, but that fight goes down, and now I didn't even know what to say when I got assigned this fight. This was a rank 5 Hyperion, and I realized he's a large or extra large. I think he's large. Defender, which means protect will trigger on every single special attack. But luckily, so I don't have to waste a special 1 boost, I actually had another fight to take immediately after, which was Domino on node 33, and the guy placed without willpower, which means an invulnerability boost is 100% required for a solo. And right here I throw my L2, I'm spamming L2, I don't get it off. So right here I get an armor break on me, and I got limbo activate, so I'm healed back up to 100%. But right here, I'm going to throw the special 3 because special 3 cannot be affected by protect. But he already has 1 protect stack on him, so that damage gets reduced by 30%. So we're going to have to hit a lot of intercepts in the fight. So he's not power locked yet, but he is power locked now. I have 2 protects on him. I'm going to hit an intercept here. And then, so the first hit, if it crits, it will trigger protection. The second hit, even if it doesn't crit, will still trigger protection. So you can actually get 2 stacks of protection for 1 L2. But right here, I hit a beautiful intercept. Maybe it was right. It must have been right before my L3. Sorry. I was going to go for a stand-up, but stand-up intercepts don't count to remove the node. So I did a dash back first and landed a normal intercept. But I'm actually going to carry over the indestructible boost to this fight. This is another Domino. This is a rank 3 Domino on Powerful from Afar Spite. And this Domino is really, really weird because at the start of the fight, she's like super passive, never throwing specials. And then by the end of the fight, she just goes crazy and throws a special at every possible chance she has. So here, she's at 81% throwing her first L3. That may look bad, but it actually doesn't really count. Like if you're going to divide the fight up into 3 sections, you'd think it's 66%. But after I land my L2, that's when it's actually half done because the L3, or sorry, 1/3 done, because the L3 is going to give you bar of power, so you can throw your L2 right after. I'm not sure if you guys are understanding what I'm saying. I'm just trying to like say theoretically how much damage I would have to do in order like for her to throw exactly 3 special 3s. And right there, I was just really early on my evade on the L1, so I lost another indestructible charge. But I only end up needing 2. This is also my last Warlock fight, so I could have been down to 1%. I don't care. It's still a solo. But there you go. Domino with no willpower cleaned up quite easily with Warlock. I think that's the 3rd time I've done that fight this season without willpower. Maybe the 2nd, at least 2. I think 3. And now we'll go on to this Mojo. So I could have quaked this Mojo. Quaking Mojo is always super, super sketchy. We don't do it. D69 never quakes Mojo that I know of. And he starts out horribly. So I start out going for an initial parry. And he decides to charge a heavy attack right off the start of the fight. And I dash back as soon as I can. And it still triggers dexterity, which means I'm going to degenerate. So I lost 15% of my health to start the fight. And then I do get power locked. I do get him power locked. But magic is also going to trigger protect on most special attacks. So she doesn't trigger it against, or she did trigger it against Hyperion because of the class advantage. So as long as she does not crit, she is not going to trigger it against Mojo. So we are hitting a lot of intercepts, keeping our health. Now, at this point, I still had another magic fight after this. I'll explain why I don't end up taking that fight, at least not with magic. And right there, I take a 5-hit combo. Luckily, 3 of the hits get healed up from Limbo. But also right there, you'll notice I got double crits on my L2, which means I'm going to trigger Protect. So now I'm doing 10% damage with 3 stacks of Protect. So we got to intercept once, intercept twice. Doesn't let me, so I'm going to throw another L2. Another set of double crits. I think actually the 2nd hit didn't crit. I think it's Assassin that increased my attack rating. But yeah, right there we take that fight out. That fight was so sketchy. I do think magic is objectively the best counter to that fight. It's just super sketchy, so it's a good place for Mojo. But now we go for this R3 thing on 47, and I've taken this fight so many times. Quaking node 47 is such a joke now. I remember people used to die to Quaking it when Protect was first the meta, but then people got used to it. So what I like to do is I like to start the fight off by trapping myself in the corner. And he actually dashed back, I think it was 4 full times, maybe it was 3, in that first cycle of me trying to get to my wall, which makes him get to about 70% of a bar of power. But now the fight's already over. We just have to Quake in our corner. Even if I throw off a heavy attack, I can simply bait an L1. Like, it's not really that hard. And yeah, he's going down pretty easily. I was super worried about the Hyperion, so I did boost up pretty big here, so the Quaking's going pretty fast. I think I was one of the only people in the Alliance that boosted today, because we said you didn't have to boost if you don't want to, or just use really light boosts, but I always boost, even if we're throwing wars or if we're absolutely destroying them by like 30 deaths, I'll still always boost like normal. It's just, I've always done that, and I feel like it's the right thing to do, to always treat wars the same. So there you go. I think in section 3, actually, normally I used 30% boost. Today I only used a 10% green boost. So that's one difference. But that's nothing, because all my fights on the boss island are Quake fights, and it doesn't matter how much you boost with Quake, because if you don't make a mistake, you'll solo almost any fight without timing out, without being completely unboosted. You just boost for safety. But yeah, there we go. That's a beautiful fight. Pretty much perfect fight against Thing. And now we'll go up against this R3 Korg. This is on node 51, which is Unblockable Special 1, Power Focus 1. Excuse me. It also has Hurt Locker on it. So this was actually always a very common placement for Korg. So back in Stubborn days, I used to use Ghost whenever I saw him here. We've also used Namor before. It's not a very hard fight. He is a defensive champion, so he was a problem during Stubborn. But here, there's nothing hard about this fight. It's just a normal Quake fight. So I'm doing about 5% per cycle, which means this is going to be around a 20 cycle Quake fight, which is just over 3.5 minutes with the 1 second delay. So this fight's going to take, I think it's just under 4 minutes, which is why I sped it up. But it's really, really easy. You never have to worry about his unstoppable or his unblockable when you're Quaking, because it doesn't matter. You'll never be hitting into him anyways or blocking. And I believe this is actually a perfect fight, so I think I only had 3 Quake fights today, and they all went beautifully. But yeah, there's not really much to say about this fight. You guys have seen me Quake Korg on 47, on Mixmaster. You've seen me Quake him on 54. There's just... Korg is too easy of a defender now. I don't even think there's any nodes he's good. I think the only node he's semi-decent is Path 2 Section 1, the second node, and Doom just takes him so easily on that node that it's just... there's nothing hard about it. Doom on Buffet you can Quake. Doom anywhere, basically, except for Brute Force. And Window of Opportunity first node as well. You can Quake him on Spite. Yeah, no problem. But yeah, it's pretty much a straightforward fight. So now we have 2 minutes left. He's at 20%, so it's going to be around another 30 or 40 seconds, I believe. And then he's going to go down. This guy did place with Willpower, which does make Quaking a little bit slower since he's healing just over 1/3 of the damage I'm doing, while my Aftershocks are not. What's it called? I don't know what the right word is, but expiring, when the Aftershocks are expiring to do damage. So when I'm normally charging heavy. So that fight takes 3 minutes and 40 seconds, but it's extremely, extremely easy and safe. Now for this fight, this is rank 3 Killmonger on node 54, enhanced power gain. I was assigned magic for this fight, but I said, you know what? This is my last fight of the season. Let's spice it up a bit by Quaking Killmonger. So I am going to go play the beginning of this fight just until I set up the Quake cycle in normal speed. And right here, you'll notice 1 charging heavy, so 1 debuff, is actually going to do... is actually going to give him a full bar of power. So I only hit him with 1 light attack, and then I charged heavy once to shut off reverberation. And that gave him a full bar of power. Luckily, he didn't throw it. He had 1 chance to, and he didn't. And then I just dexed a bunch and baited it out. But now it's just full Quake cycle. Or it's full parry, or not parry, full dex style Quaking. It's really straightforward. But if you guys didn't know the way that you Quake Killmonger, you can only Quake Killmonger if he's duped. If he's unduped, you cannot Quake him ever. But basically the way that it works is you have to trigger reverberation by hitting him, and then as reverberation expires, you have to be holding heavy. Now this does not work on Force of Will, because what you're actually doing is you're stopping his reverberation from ever coming back. So as soon as you stopped it, you can put as many debuffs on him as you want. He is never going to gain power unless you hit him. You can even parry in this fight. Stun debuffs don't even give him power anymore. It's basically like Killmonger lost every single defense ability he ever had when you're quaking him. But yeah, Killmonger has a pretty low physical resistance and health pool. Actually, I think his health pool is pretty decent, but his physical resistance is pretty low. So it's very easy to quake him. You'll notice as these shocks expire, we're dealing around 6% damage. I think I was doing 5% with Korg. So it's... what's that, 20%? Yeah, that's a whole 20% more damage. So, and with the same boosts. So that's really easy. I was doing these fights around 1 a.m. because I just wanted to get all my fights done. And when I boosted up for Hyperion, I used 6-hour boosts for the attack and for the health. So I only had to use a green boost. So I used a 20% for section 2 and then a 10% green boost for section 1. But yeah, that fight takes 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Very, very safe fight. I play it perfectly. But yeah, that's actually the end of the war and of the season. So I'll tell you guys how this war went. Obviously, as I'm recording this, it's still 2 hours before war ends, so I don't have the page. They died 4 times and cleared our defense. If we had pushed for this war, I'm sure we could have beat them if we'd planned to. But we didn't need to win this war at all, so we didn't push and we died a bunch at the beginning. And then we stopped dying for a while. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we died 8 times total. It might have been a little more. The last time I was on in game, it was 8 times. Don't quote me on that. So I think the final score was 4-8. Might have been more if we died after I'm recording this, because we at this point we've only cleared around 138 nodes or so. But yeah, that is going to conclude the season. We ended with a record of 7-5. It should have been 8-4 because we beat SAS and then the game servers stole the win from us by having us disconnect 4 times, and then we lost by 3 deaths. So really we died 1 time less than them. That doesn't matter. Game servers gave them the win. So 7-5 on the season. We did get Masters. That's 100% locked in, and the opening video will be coming soon. Our death total for the season was 1 death. That 1 death against that Hyperion on node 54 where I used Warlock, and I got clipped by an unblockable special 2. Just really, really hurts. I hate that I threw away my best chance at my first ever perfect season, which I still haven't gotten, so I need to try it again next season. I hate that I threw it away on that fight, but you know, sometimes you just mess up. As far as our PSR, this is by far the most fights I've ever taken in a season. I think the most I've ever taken before this season was 94 fights in this season, in a season, and this time we took 111 fights, which is just crazy. So I had 2 wars with 8 kills, which was the lowest I ever had. I think I had 5 wars with 9, 4 wars with 10, and then 3 wars with 11, or 2 wars with 11 and 6 with 10. I'm not sure. Either way, or 5 with 10. But yeah, we are, as far as our PSR goes, we are 110 out of 111, so 99%. And then adding on the 9 fights today, we are up to a deathless streak of 28. So going into the first war of this season, I was at a deathless streak of 14. If I had been at a deathless streak of 28, we would have hit the 100 straight solos, which we obviously choked in war 9 or 10. 9, I think. I think I died in war 9. But yeah, either way, that's a good start for next season to try to hit 100. But yeah, that is going to be it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one, which will be the reward opening, I believe. Bye.